You know, it's not a good sign that they've started to animate things I actually know about. It makes me paranoid that sooner or later I'll have to watch something I already read and thus compromising my opinion about it even more than I already have, and the next thing you know I'll start to make pretentious videos explaining why some vaguely old obscure anime is the best thing ever happened since the invention of penicillin. The Promised Neverland is a 12-episode anime made by Cloverworks, and though I've never read the manga it was adapted from, I've heard a lot of positive things about it, mostly that it features actual children as protagonists. Contrary to what a lot of people believe about anime, there's not a lot of it where preteen kids get to be protagonists, and those that do usually either made specifically for them or feature themes that are at best bleak, at worst aren't meant to be viewed even by certain categories of adults. So in the far year of 2040-something, there exists a totally not evil orphanage where children live a happy life without any need or want with their totally not evil mama, and anyone who have read or seen pretty much any work of fiction will tell you that this isn't a good sign. Predictably, two of our three main protagonists, Norman and Emma, eventually see that the orphanage is in reality a human farm for demons and decided that they should run away from this place, but since mama also work for demons, Norman, Ray and Emma team up to outwit her and escape. So yes, the general premise of this anime is so old it's a viable candidate for presidency, but as we all can probably agree upon, ideas are worthless without a decent realization, and for the most part, the plot is structured pretty well. According to my employers, the genres people usually ascribe to this anime are sci-fi, horror, and drama. And while I'll agree with them on the drama part as the story is very character-centric, the other two left me baffled. Of course, the term science fiction is applied to pretty much anything these days, but usually it means fiction dealing with advanced science, technology, or societies that are highly speculative, experimental, or idealistic. And unless the inevitable second season is going to have some impossible technology, there's nothing in here that just screams science fiction. All tech they use is pretty much World War II era, and almost nothing that's actually fictitious is explained or explored. Horror, on the other hand, is a bit harder to debunk, since horror is subjective, but there's not a lot of things that I found to be scary or that could scare people. Sure, the plot has the required imminent threat, the imagery tries to make you feel uneasy, and the music occasionally gives you those horror orchestra vibes, but I doubt a lot of people would even be a bit scared. Uncomfortable? Sure, but if I suddenly and without any warning went boo on you, that wouldn't suddenly make my entire ramble a horror, that would just make me look like a dick. So, did you actually like the anime? Well, I liked the parts with Sister Krone. She's not a very creatively written character, true, but she was expressive, fun to watch, and she has the face of a person you would never want to leave children with unless you wanted them to experience a practical demonstration of the term deflower. But what about the rest of it? The graphics are pretty okay. Some of it was a bit weird, but I've glanced at how they looked in the manga and they're just as weird there, so this is more of a stylistic choice than a direct fuck-up. There is 3D in this, but only used on the environment, not the characters, at least as far as I've noticed, which is probably the best way to utilize it. The music is a mixed bag. The opening is catchy, and the music overall wasn't bad, if a bit invasive, but the sound work was all over the place, as in some parts the music was too loud and deafened whatever the characters talked about. Sometimes their lines were either corrupted or cut, and there's at least one scene in episode 11 where Ray was most definitely voiced by two different voice actors. Overall, this isn't a bad show, but most definitely not for everyone. Your enjoyment will greatly depend on you giving a shit about the characters as well as your ability to keep up with all the scheming and planning. And the moment the show loses you, I doubt that you'll be able to be interested in it for too long, as outside of those, The Promised Neverland is fairly generic in its execution, and you never want a generic execution because bored executioners make the best sodomites.